Hey everyone, Dinosaur MTG here because I am an old dinosaur when it comes to Magic, and I am continuing a rule series I started a while ago. An old issue of the Duelist from '95, which is how we got our information back then, along with Scry. And this is an issue that features Magic's newest set at the time, Fallen Empires. I know nowadays Fallen Empires is considered one of the worst sets in Magic history. Back in '94-'95, it was regularly played. A few reasons for this. There wasn't much choice. You had the initial base set, Alpha Beta Unlimited. You had the 4 expansions, Arabian Nights, Antiquities, Legends in the Dark, and then you had Fallen Empires. And also, the game was way different back then, much more slower and clunkier compared to today, and cards had room to breathe. And also, you had almost no online resources for deck techs and singles. So your local gaming group was almost entirely reliant on the cards they pulled from packs or the limited amount of singles your LGS sold. So everybody just built with whatever they pulled from packs. Anyway, let's look at a couple of rules issues that came up with Fallen Empires. So first we're going to start with an interaction between two cards. We got High Tide, which was released in Fallen Empires. It's an instant for 1 blue. Until end of turn, all your islands produce an additional mana. And then we also have Blue Mana Battery, which was released earlier. And it's kind of like a clunkier High Tide. It's an artifact that you can just charge up with blue mana and just sack it for, or not sack it, but remove counters from it to get blue mana. So I'm just gonna read. There's a rule section in here from Fallen Empires, and I'm just gonna read what some players are asking. The question they ask here is, can I get extra blue mana from my Blue Mana Battery if I cast High Tide? So I'm gonna say no, because you get extra mana from islands, not from Blue Mana Battery, which is an artifact. And the answer they give is no. Only lands that count as islands are affected by High Tide. This spell will not affect Mox Sapphire, which is one of the Power 9, a 0 mana artifact that taps for blue mana. Blue Mana Batteries or Sand Silos, for example, which is actually a non-basic land in Fallen Empires that it kind of works like Blue Mana Battery. You can leave it tapped, build up counters on it, and then remove counters to get blue mana. So yeah, this gives you an idea of the game back then, of what kind of decks are being built and how people are trying to. This is ramp in the 90s. This is how you do ramp in the 90s. It's kind of funny when you compare it today. But yeah, I remember playing with mana batteries back then. Using red mana battery to charge up for a huge fireball. I'm going to do one more here. This involves another Fallen Empires card at the time, a Hummered Spawning Bed, which is a token generator. And the question they ask is, with Hummer. Well, first let's look at the card. It's 2 blue. It's an enchantment. You can pay 1 blue and 1. Sacrifice a blue creature to put X camera token creatures into play, where X is the casting cost of the sacrificed creature. Treat these tokens as 1/1 blue creatures. So the question they ask is, with Hummered Spawning Bed, how many cameras can I put into play if I sacrifice a creature with X in the casting cost? So I'm gonna guess whatever not counting the X. I believe X would equal 0. And you would just go by the rest of the casting cost. I'm just going to guess that. So what they say is, if you sacrifice a creature to the spawning bed that has an X in the casting cost, the X is considered to be 0 for the purpose of this spell. So the sacrifice of Frankenstein's monster, which is a black creature from Legends, that you sack a bunch of creatures to pay for X, and it comes in, you know, with power and toughness equal to X, I believe. Frankenstein's monster, for example, which costs 2 black and X to cast, you'd only get 2 Cameron tokens. Because not including the X, it's 2 black mana, you get 2 Cameron tokens. So that's another example of a rules question that came up in the 90s. So there's a bunch of these. You know, I'm trying to do a whole video series to cover the whole list of cards. But yeah, that was, you know, that's just a little look into some couple of forgotten rules questions that would come up in the 90s. You know, if you like hearing this kind of stuff, and you know how I interacted with the cards back in the 90s, or stuff I've seen, if you like this kind of content, like, share, subscribe, comment, do other things. Keep playing Magic the way Richard Garfield intended.